how many times I have lost everything. The first time I lost $15,000, the second time I lost more than $100,000, and the third time I ended up with $400,000 debt. And if you're broke right now and you would like to rebuild yourself from zero, you have reached the best possible video. Subscribe now if you want a practical system for resilience, recovery, and rebuilding after the failure. This isn't theory, that's what I lived. Throughout it all, I lost several $1 million across all my projects. At the time, I was left with absolutely nothing, completely broke. And if you are watching this video from rock bottom, I have been there. And I not just visited, I lived there. My life was ruined and I don't want to do nothing, and I was totally lost. And today, through the key idea of this video, I am sharing the exact SAP systems that I'm using and that helped me to stand up again and totally rebuild me. I would like to tell you a little bit more about the rock bottom trajectory of my life. First of all, I lost $15K in scam. The second crash, I burned through $100,000 while trading. The biggest one and the most terrible for me is $5 million between 3 of my projects and $400,000 debt because I lost control over my impulses. As a result, everything was going really badly, really miserably, and I was failing terrible. After it all happened, I ended up in the hospital. I spent more than a month there, and I was practically on the brink of death. My girlfriend said to me that I was like a walking dead from the series, and I felt really badly. I spent a lot of time for recovering, but the debts was still hanging over my neck. I was need to sell my car. I sold various assets to pay off the part of my debt, and to fully recover, it takes around 2 years for me. So you can imagine in which situation I was lived. Here is what no one tells you about the rock bottom. It's not about the money, it's the internal voice, the voice that constantly whispering in your ear. Maybe you're not just good enough, maybe you need to stop trying, you are just a failure. That what was in my head, till the moment I rebuilt the system that helped me to solve the problems. Of course, there is always two paths. The first one, you can listen your voice in your head, or the second one that you need to choose, and that what I choose, the rise again. And if you are watching that video, that already mean that you're not gave up. And I have congratulations for you because you're on the right way. And when you rise again, each time after another loss, after another trauma, after another defeat, it will strengthen you, your inner core. And when everything collapses, you will be more resilient. And honestly, in the future, you will even not pay attention to the small problems anymore. And you can see my face. This is a simple face about me, surprised most of my friends. It became difficult for them to understand how I keep my calm in difficult situations, as they are so used to panic and being stressed. On the other hand, I look at stressful situations as just another small problem that I need to solve. I have already eaten some shit in my life. Honestly, I am not scared about those things, and I can solve them easily because I already lost everything a couple of times. And if you are broke and if you are in the same situation, the situation just make you much stronger than you was before. So don't give up and continue moving forward. And this phase of my life convinced me that it can be a really good growth point. And for you is the same situation. You start growing right now. And even in my circle of entrepreneurs, a lot of people lose their money. I have a couple of friends of mine and partners who lost their money at least one time in their life, and they was with the debts. The one was with the debt like $80,000, the another one more than $100,000, and so on. So it's not like just one situation. And if you are broke right now, it's not doesn't mean that you need to lose your life or like you need to stop doing something. It's the point where you need to start changing your life. And that video I will try to create for you to change your mentality and try to solve the problems for the future. And I just tell you about my friends, and you know what they said, what surprised me? They have the same mentality that I have right now. And they said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That positive mindset is the last step of the framework that I'm using for went through hard life lessons. And here is the 6-step framework that I would like to share with you. The first step, acknowledging reality. Give yourself that brutal reality check that you need right now. The second step, accepting full responsibility. Maybe it wasn't just situation, maybe it was you, and you need to make the responsibility shift on yourself. The third one is cleansing, or more accurately I call it hygiene of the environment and all excess. Remove those friends who enjoy your failure. Reject the business ideas that drain your wallet and energy, and avoid excessive spendings. The fourth one is reform thinking. That's like belief surgery, and I will tell about that a little bit later because it's like one of the most important parts of the whole system. The fifth one is system of decision making, decision protocols, checklists, and firewall that protects you from rushing into bad decisions. And the last step, but this is like really good step for your mentality, is positive uncertainty. You will learn how to embrace the uncertainty of the future instead of treat and see of the opportunities for growth and positive change. Time come. Let's dive deeper into the framework. First of all, we will acknowledge reality, because this is one of the most important points on which you need to accept reality and enhance resilience. And the best moment about that, just about right now, when you're literally have nothing left to lose, when you have hit absolutely rock bottom, what you need to do is acknowledge reality. Admit that you may have been mistaken somewhere. Start looking at the world without illusions. You don't need to blame anyone, and nobody doesn't blame you. It's absolutely okay to make that mistakes, but admit that you're in a crisis right now and things are really bad, and you need to do something about that. One of the studies that I have been read reveals that writing about emotional experiences reducing avoidance behavior up to 58%, and not opening up about your inner emotional turmoil can lead to stress. Such stress can increase the risk of illness and another stress-related disturbances. So the best thing that you can do right now for yourself is just to take a paper or open the note on your iPhone and start writing about your emotions, about your feelings, and about everything that you have in your head to decrease that understanding and decrease that stress that you feeling right now. After you start doing that, we will go to the next step. Accepting full responsibility. It's also one of the most important steps of that system, because self-accountability predicts the faster recovery from setbacks. Before, I also tried to blame somebody else, but when I just realized that all the shit that happened in my life, I am just responsible for that shit, that means you start becoming more adult person and you not blaming to everyone and anyone surrounding you, and you just need to make an actions to avoid and solve those problems. You need to understand that I isn't trying to say that you should feel guilty about all things that happen in your life, but you must say, I am responsible for the situation I am in right now. And when you realize that, we can move to the third step of the system, detoxing. System step where the magic begins. You start cleaning every aspect of your life. I called it hygiene. That means that you need to make order in your life. But first step for that, you need to remove everything that's unnecessary. Also, you need to understand when I'm using the term hygiene, I am talking about all aspects of our life. The food, information, community, personal hygiene, and the last and the most important one, environmental one. This is the best time to remove or distance yourself from unnecessary people and unnecessary habits in your life. You need to free yourself and free up your energy. And I believe that release of energy come not from the creating the new habits or creating the new, more complicated systems in your life. It starts from the removing all the things that are not necessary in your life. And you need to start from that. That will bring you to the result, and that will help you to start rebuilding yourself step by step when you're broke. And you know what that minimalistic approach reminded me? The movie Limitless, where the protagonist took NZT-48, the mind-enhancing for the first time. And if you will see that more clearly, you understand that first thing that he started to do, he started cleaning his apartments, working space, and eventually his life. I believe this is a clear demonstration that clarity starts with environmental cleansing. And the last one about that topic. The most amazing thing that surprised me about our brain when I'm studying about that topic and how our brains work, I was understanding that our brain's processing capacity is limited by 100 billion bytes of information per second. It sounds so huge, but you need to understand that the world around us contains an estimated 149 zettabytes of data. The difference is exponentially huge. And now you need to understand that the majority of the processing is achieved subconsciously. And this in turn brings us back to the fact that practice and habits are more important than we are thinking about that, because they can train our brains to carry out actions automatically. And without the proper filter system, insignificant data or social interactions will only add that noise and overwhelm us and create additional stress. As such, cleansing your environment is not only symbolic but necessary for reclaiming your brain processing bandwidth. The next thing what we need to do after clean our environment and clean our brain from unnecessary things is to rebuild our beliefs. We need to make belief surgery. Stop looking at the world through the lens of illusions. This way of thinking will not hold up. It won't bring the result you want to achieve, and you need to be updated. You need to understand why you ended up here in this rock bottom, and your beliefs is the thing that brought you to the point where are you right now. So it brings us to the making new beliefs, but not just making new beliefs, but also removing the old ones. And as a part of my healing journey, I came across a great book that helped me a lot. The name of that book is Quantum Warrior by John Cahill. It taught me how to build the right system, and it also gave me an idea that I needed to replace my old beliefs with the new ones. And anytime when my friends or family themselves in a difficult situation, I recommend this book to them. It shows to you that not everything is over, and it's explained to you how to change your way of thinking and how to properly reformat your beliefs. After I finished reading that book, I wrote down my false beliefs that led me to the situation I was in. Then I reformatted those false beliefs, reflected on them, and replaced them with the correct principles that led me to the next steps. After the few years of that, I also start reflecting of myself, and sometimes I'm finding unusual beliefs that leading me to the wrong way, not on the way where I would like to go. So this is the process that took a long time for you, and I'm not telling you that it will happen just like in 1 second. You need to work on yourself all the time, and just you can do that, because you need to take that full responsibility on yourself. That's what we are talking about in the previous steps. I know that I'm not giving to you that magic pillow, or I'm telling you that you should be responsible for your life. I know it's hard. And I know that is not the way that you expect probably to hear in that video, but this is the real life. And if you are accepted, you will be really successful person in the future. I would like to share with you one of my personal false beliefs that lead me to the problems. And right now, I will be as open as I can for you. I used to believe that to rise higher than before, one must hit the bottom first and push off. like phoenix rising from the ashes. It was a belief which I was shaped by repeated cycles of collapse and recovery through all those 3 stages what I have in my life and about which I told you in the first part of the video. And I had lost everything a couple of times because of that belief. That hit me to the minimum edge of survival, and I was slowly rebuilding. Each time I could only get slightly higher than before, and gone through 3 cycles of bankruptcy, any times lose the bigger amount of money than before. But I now see this belief a rationalization for repeated self-destruction. Growth isn't dependent on collapse, it demands compounding like a domino effect. And the most of all, leverage. And that means that waiting for a fall to rise is inefficient and unnecessary. And right now, I'm just trying to do small things that bring me to the next point consistently without waiting that bad situations that give me like additional motivation to become better person because like I am just already in that situation. It's small thing, but that small thing changing the whole our life like a butterfly effect. Because you need to understand that our beliefs create our thoughts, and thoughts follow to the actions, and actions bring the result. So this is one of the most important understanding what I get from that book that I recommend to you. And we slightly come to the decision making, the 5th stage. I call it the second to last. When I call it the second to last, but in fact, it's the last one within the system itself. The final stage will more focused on the psychology of how all of this works. In order to achieve your goals, you need to resolve to make your own decisions, even if you are making mistakes along the way. Because if you don't do it, the problems you face will never be solved. Creating a review system is the way to go. Every few months, clear out everything unnecessary and review all your past decisions. Mistakes are always normal, but if they're happening with you more than once, then it's already a sign that you need to change something. Everyone thinks that mistakes are bad, but in the startup world, large funds pay more attention to the startup founders who have made a huge number of mistakes and who have been already launched a couple of projects and they are fail, compared to the founders who are trying to build their own business for the first time. We come to the finish. This exact system can help you to achieve new results. I totally understand you. It's difficult to remain positive when you're facing hardships and defeats, but it is also equally rewarding when you're able to recover from your failures and continue acting, creating something new, creating something bigger, and moving forward. Just the people who don't do nothing not fail, you need to understand that. And if you are fail, it's absolutely normal. You're still alive and you can keep moving forwards. So don't give up and continue doing something. In 3, 5 or 10 years, you don't know what will happen. Maybe you will be very rich because you will learn how to use your current experience. Start with one simple step today and comment how your journey goes. Allow me and the viewers to root for you, and let's support each other in the comments below. I will be waiting for you.